What food is most commonly associated with November, especially in the U.S.? Pumpkin. What is the birthstone for November? Topaz. Which color is traditionally associated with November in the United States? Yellow. Which zodiac sign covers November 1 through 22? Scorpio. Which zodiac sign starts on November 23rd? Sagittarius. Which country celebrates Guy Fawkes Night on November 5th? United Kingdom. What Mexican holiday on November 1 to 2 honors the dead? Día de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. In which country do people celebrate Armistice Day on November 11th? France. What is the name of the November 11th holiday in the United States that honors veterans? Veterans Day. Which European country observes St. Martin's Day in November? Germany. Which Indian festival in November celebrates with lights and fireworks? Diwali. When was the first Thanksgiving feast held in America? (1621). What year did Thanksgiving become an official U.S. holiday? (1941). Which U.S. president proclaimed Thanksgiving as a national holiday? Abraham Lincoln. What was the first food to be eaten at the first Thanksgiving, 1621? Venison. Which department store is famous for hosting the annual Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City? Macy's. Which major event in the NFL takes place every November? The Thanksgiving Day Games. Who was the first president of the United States to be impeached? Andrew Johnson. Which former U.S. president was born on November 2, 1865? Warren Harding. What major historical event happened on November 11, 1918? World War I ended with the signing of the armistice. In what year did the Berlin Wall fall? (1989). Which pop superstar shares a November 11th birthday with Leonardo DiCaprio? Laverne Baker. Which famous magician was born on November 23, 1894? Harry Blackstone Sr. Which famous scientist born on November 7, 1867, is known for pioneering research on radioactivity? Marie Curie. Which American author born on November 13, 1920, is famous for writing The Lord of the Rings? J.R.R. Tolkien. Which 2001 November film became a global box office hit? Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Which artist released the album Dangerous in November 1991? Michael Jackson. What historic gunpowder plot is remembered on November 5th in England? The Gunpowder Plot. Which TV show, first aired on November 9th, 1961, became an iconic sitcom? The Joey Bishop Show. Which famous rock band released their album Abbey Road in November 1969? The Beatles. Which country won the first ever Rugby World Cup in 1987? New Zealand. Which golden orange November birthstone looks like liquid sunlight? Citrine. November 9th, 1989 changed history in Europe. What famous wall famously fell? The Berlin Wall. In what year was the first NBA game played in November? (1946). What U.S. event happens the day after Thanksgiving, causing shopping chaos? Black Friday. Which famous civil rights leader delivered the I Have a Dream speech on November 28, 1963? Martin Luther King Jr. Who was the first U.S. president to celebrate Thanksgiving at the White House? Theodore Roosevelt. Which famous company introduced the first canned pumpkin for pies in November 1929? Libby's. What month precedes November? October. How many days are in November? $30. Which element has the atomic number 11 matching November's month number? Sodium. Which constellation is most visible in the northern hemisphere during November? Cassiopeia and Orion. What is the flower associated with November? Chrysanthemum. What U.S. state was admitted to the Union in November 1889? Washington. Which musical instrument is celebrated on November 6th as its National Day? Saxophone. In Finnish, November is called marrasku. What does it translate to? Death month. Which spacecraft first orbited Mars in November 1971? Mariner 9. November 26, 1922 was a major archaeological day. What tomb was opened? Tutankhamun's tomb. Which Nobel Prize-winning writer was born on November 3, 1835? Mark Twain. What celestial event often peaks in mid-November? The Leonid meteor shower.